Right now at 6, breaking news overnight. A man is in critical condition following a shooting in Joplin's Sunnyvale neighborhood.
Plus, one person is dead and 2 others injured following an overnight crash near Grand Falls.
And after a pandemic hiatus, the Joplin School District holds their bus camp. We'll take you there. You're watching.
State's most watched news starts now.
Gunshots early this morning in the Sunnyvale neighborhood in South Joplin. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Chris Warner.
And I'm Bella Line. Those gunshots resulted in one man being taken to the hospital in critical condition. Officials with the Joplin Police Department say the investigation is still underway. No arrests have been made yet. Officials ask that if you have any information regarding this incident, please contact the Joplin Police Department.
One man is dead following a crash near Grand Falls in Joplin. The crash happened on Riverside Drive just west of the falls. The Joplin Police Department report states that the crash was around 2 a.m. and involved 3 people. 2 people were transported to nearby hospitals, one being in serious condition, the other in stable condition with minor injuries. The third victim was reported deceased at the scene. The victims' names are not being released at this time while the crash is pending further investigation. And another hot one, we were hoping for some rain, but that doesn't really seem to be the case for most of us. Nick Kelly joining us.
Yeah, a lucky few of us. Chris did manage to catch in on a few showers, although this was expected for today. I still think our better shot for more widespread or scattered rain and storms will take place until we get into tomorrow. But a lot of cloud cover, that certainly has helped us out with temperatures, certainly from 7th and Rangeline. But the heat advisories, even with the clouds, they are still in effect for a good number of us until we hit about 8 o'clock this evening. But it's nice to see this on the radar. Rain working through other parts of the region. There's actually a good complex of rain working over Stockton Lake, wanting to take aim at Springfield. So hopefully that can hold, because the folks over there certainly need their drink of water as well. This frontal system giving us the rain chances this evening. That's what's going to stick around for tomorrow before it lifts back north going into the week ahead. Right now, though, a lot of us are in the mid-90s right now because of the clouds, but it still feels like 95 to 100 in many spots. I see us dropping through the 90s, 80s into the upper 70s for tonight. We'll break down the rain chances for tomorrow, Chris, and dangerous heat for the week ahead here in a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you.
Joplin School District held their first bus safety day today for the first time in 3 years. This year, they were able to introduce the newest member of the bus fleet, Buster, the talking bus. The event is geared to teach upcoming kindergartners and first graders proper bus safety and the importance of it through fun games, stations, and drills.
This will also help first day jitters, like kids getting on the bus for the first time on the first day of school, you know, something real giant when the bus comes to a stop and they're afraid to get on. This will kind of help relieve that stress a little.
We will hear from the Joplin School District's Assistant Superintendent of Operations later tonight.
The Joplin High School speech and debate team held what they called a garage sale style fundraiser. The sale raised money for travel and any other expenses the teams may have during the course of the upcoming school year. The sale featured goods such as DVDs, clothing, and a number of household items.
Yeah, it's amazing to have people from the community show up over at the table where people are paying. They'll tell us how they were in debate when they were in high school or they had kids that do it. And it's awesome to hear those personal connections from the past and realize that people do care about us, and that's awesome.
Along with the sale, there was a raffle for some items as well.
If you are in need of something fun to do today, the town of Purdy was the place to be for the Purdy Festival. This festival has a lot to offer, from a car show to live bands and, of course, food trucks. Thanks to local sponsors, all rides, inflatables, and the petting zoo were free for kids. The local fire department helped beat the heat by spraying water for all the kids to play in.
It's all free. It's a good time. There's lots of food vendors. You can come see your local fire department here and check out the trucks. And it's a really good event for our community. It's brought a lot of people in from the surrounding communities and gives them a chance to come and see what Purdy has to offer.
This is the 12th year for the Purdy Festival.
Golden City Harvest Days, it's nothing to snooze about. The festival is in full swing with their annual Great American Bed Race. Yeah, you heard that right. It's not like most races you've seen. These race beds are made out of an iron bed frame on wheels and part of an old motorcycle. The team who wins first place gets a trophy and a cash prize. There's also a cash prize for the team who's best dressed.
We revived it here about 8 years ago with new beds. We provide the beds, and those 2 beds today were 2 iron beds and 3 motorcycles, and that's what we came up with.
This annual festival has been going on for over 100 years. The name started as Golden Harvest Reunion and then changed to Golden Harvest Days in the 1980s.
President Biden is on his way back to Washington, D.C. after wrapping up a 4-day trip to the Middle East.
Now, during his visit, the president held key meetings with several leaders in the volatile region to discuss peace, human rights, climate change, and oil production. Michael George has the latest from New York.
Let me state clearly that the United States is going to remain an active, engaged partner in the Middle East.
President Biden used the final moments on his visit to the Middle East to reassure Gulf state leaders that the U.S. vows to remain an active partner in the region.
We will not walk away and leave a vacuum to be filled by China, Russia, or Iran.
He also held separate meetings with the leaders of several countries, including Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and Iraq, to discuss climate change, oil production, and human rights.
The United States will always promote human rights and the values enshrined in the UN Charter. It's in our DNA.
But Saudi Arabia's Minister of Foreign Affairs said the U.S. may regret imposing values outside its own borders.
The idea that one can impose values on other countries, His Royal Highness made clear, does not work. It has not worked when the U.S. tried to impose values on Afghanistan and Iraq. In fact, it backfired.
On Friday, the president greeted Saudi Arabia's crown prince with a controversial fist bump. But President Biden insisted he pressed Mohammed bin Salman on the brutal assassination of Washington Post columnist and critic of the royal family, Jamal Khashoggi.
He basically said that he was not personally responsible for it. I indicated I thought he was.
There was instant criticism. Khashoggi's fiancée tweeted, "The blood of MBS' next victim is on your hands." The Biden administration was also hoping to broker a boost in oil production on this visit so Americans can get some relief at the gas pump, but there were no major announcements. Michael George, CBS News.
Now, OPEC is expected to take up the issue of increasing oil production at its meeting next month. The president's trip is also included stops in Israel and the West Bank.
We take this time now to honor tonight's four-state hero. Command Sergeant Major Doris Lewis served in the United States Army with tours in Vietnam and South Korea. She served from September 1965 to September of 2002 in her hometown of Joplin. We're proud to honor Command Sergeant Major Lewis, our four-state hero. To learn more about other heroes or to submit a hero of your own, just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com.
Coming up, a University of Michigan psychologist explains how talking to yourself can benefit your everyday life.
Plus, a Missouri resident is dead after inhaling a brain-eating amoeba at an Iowa beach. All this and more after the break. What do you tell yourself when someone gives you a compliment or when you make a mistake?
Well, the way we talk to ourselves can make a big difference in growth and mental health. Now, Ethan Cross, a psychologist and professor at the University of Michigan, says the inner voice is a multi-purpose tool, but it can become harsh, self-critical, and unhelpful. He suggests that healthy self-talk is crucial to our growth by helping us focus our attention, rehearse for difficult situations, understand our lives better, and shape our identity.
In Iowa, a person suspected of being infected by a brain-eating amoeba has died. It comes after the victim from Missouri visited the beach at the Lake of Three State Fires Park in Taylor County, Iowa. While the infection is rare, officials say once a person is infected, it's usually fatal. Of the 154 known cases from 1962 to 2021, only 4 people have survived. This is the first reported case in Iowa. The infection cannot be spread from person to person. It occurs if contaminated water gets into a swimmer's nose. To reduce your risk, you should limit the amount of water going into your nose while in bodies of warm, fresh water.
COVID cases and hospitalizations are on the rise due to a hyper-contagious subvariant.
And an easy-to-remember number for people having a mental health emergency launches nationwide today. Michael George takes a look at this week's top health stories.
There's a new 3-digit number for people to call or text if they're experiencing a mental health crisis. 988 is the new National Suicide and Crisis Hotline. Experts believe it will help more people access the support they need during an emergency, rather than dialing a 10-digit phone number or calling 911. The CDC says new COVID hospitalizations nationwide are up more than 14% from the week before, and 35% of all U.S. counties are at the high level. Driving that surge, the highly contagious Omicron subvariant BA.5, which accounts for 65% of all new cases. Many of them are reinfections. And a new study finds drinking alcohol carries significant health risks for young people, but can be beneficial for older adults. Almost 60% of young adults aged 15 to 39 drank unsafe amounts of alcohol in 2020, according to the Global Burden of Disease. But for people 40 and over, small amounts of alcohol, like 1 or 2 glasses of red wine per day, can reduce the risk of stroke or diabetes. Those are some of the week's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
A little later, if you didn't win in the latest Mega Millions drawing, don't worry. You're not alone, and you still have a chance.
Plus, while it is nice that we have rain chances for this evening and the forecast for tomorrow, that's not going to stop real heat from building in next week. Forecast next. I'll tell you what, it is really nice that this cold front is delivering on its promise to give us quite a bit of cloud cover actually throughout the course of the day. And we're actually cashing in on some decent rain chances, at least decent compared to how dry it's been over the past several days. Closer look at things showing some very scattered showers around the Joplin area coming at us from the northwest earlier today. But we got yet another batch of rain, not only just working over Stockton Lake, but trying to expand just to the north of US 400 on the Kansas side. Hopefully we can all get a chance to cash in on these rain chances. Unfortunately, we have other chances in the forecast for tomorrow. But with the way the radar stands right now, you can clearly see the main hotspot for rain, almost moderate rain, thankfully, from Greenfield up to about Stockton Lake and just south and west of Osceola. But if we go back to the west a little ways, we can see the rain trying to build back into Crawford County, that's Neosho County, and even parts of eastern Wilson County. Even with that, though, and the cloud cover, it was hot again today with mid to upper 90s for highs, and the increased humidity, not only was that indicating rain chances, but it's keeping heat advisories in for much of the area until we hit about 8 o'clock this evening. As far as temperatures today, if this fly can stop bothering me around, near 100, if not 101 the other day, we dropped back only into areas around 80 degrees this morning, and we've just been bouncing back and forth between the middle and upper 90s throughout the course of the evening so far. 7th range line, quite a bit of cloud cover, but still hot at 96. South breeze at 11 with a dew point in the mid 60s, so it feels like 99 outside. A lot of us in the mid to upper 90s overall. Feels like close to 100 in many spots, but even with the clouds hanging tough and some rain chances around, we'll eventually drop back into the upper 70s for tonight. Let's broaden the view out. We can thank the rain chances and clouds today with our frontal system parked really close to the region and waves riding along the northwest flow of the jet stream. We'll have a few more come our way for tomorrow. Then it's all about that upper ridge out west, and it is wanting to still, unfortunately, build in some dangerous heat, certainly by Tuesday. In the short term, though, the rain that's out there now will pass on through, maybe a little lull in the action by 11 o'clock. Then I'm expecting additional rain chances and maybe a couple storms, too, to come our way by tomorrow morning. And then we'll deal with the scattered storms by lunchtime, and then mainly departing cloud cover. Let's go partly sunny by tomorrow afternoon, with still maybe a stray storm late in the day. 79 in the morning, 89 by noon, but as the cloud cover starts to break apart, that should be enough to send highs back near 96 degrees. As we go through Sunday night, Monday morning, we'll keep things quiet, at least dropping back close to 70 in many spots, and only in the mid-90s for Monday. But I think heat advisories will go back into effect for tomorrow, because certainly in some areas they'll range between 100 and 105. Then as we go into next week, if I can just get right to the 7-day, the heat really builds in, and the string of 100-degree days, something I don't think I've forecasted since my first summer of 2012 down here. 96 Sunday, 95 Monday, 102 to 103 Wednesday through Saturday. But Chris, Bella, Tuesday's high of 105. I don't know if that's enough to prompt heat advisories or heat warnings just yet, but I'm putting that up as an alert day because that's just dangerous heat if you're not careful.
Yeah, I have lived in Kansas my whole life, and 100 degrees. Wow, that's a lot for us.
Yeah, 105. I mean, I think the last time we hit that at least was maybe August 3rd or 4th of 2012. And yeah, Chris already knows how awful that summer was.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we've been this hot, so hopefully this doesn't last very long.
Hopefully not.
All right, Nick, thank you. Turning to sports, a big game tonight for the Outlaws.
Final stretch of the season, and the Outlaws fighting for first place in the division. We've got the details. Plus, Mocan Dragway celebrates a big anniversary with a 2-day drag racing event. The story next. Well, the Joplin Outlaws seem to be peaking at the perfect time. The Outlaws have only a handful of games remaining on their schedule this season, and they're currently riding a 5-game winning streak. Joplin hosts a huge matchup tonight against Sedalia. The Outlaws and the Bombers share the same record, 19-18, and are tied for first place in the South Division. Tonight's game begins at 7 p.m. and we'll have the highlights right here at 10. In the majors, St. Louis is 2 games back from the division-leading Brewers. The Cards host Game 2 of a 3-game set with the Reds today. It's the final series before the All-Star break. Cards load the bases in the first. Brendan Donovan walks home to tie the game at 1. Then Edmundo Sosa gets hit on the elbow. Albert Pujols scores. Next inning, 2-1 Cards here. Paul Goldschmidt goes deep for a 2-run home run. It's his 20th this year and 300th of his career. Later in the second, Sosa hits it up the middle. Reds can't make the play, so Pujols scores. 5-1 Cards. And in the 8th, 2 on for Lars Nootbaar. He crushes this ball to right. That's a 3-run jack. St. Louis rolls by the Reds today 11-3. In the American League, Kansas City is in Toronto to close out the first half of the season. Game 3 of a 4-game set today, tied 3-3 after 9. This one needs extras. Vinny Pasquantino hits a 2-run home run in the top of the 10th, but the Blue Jays score 3 in the bottom half to walk it off. Tough one for the Royals, 6-5 the final. The Mocan Dragway is celebrating a special milestone this weekend, its 60th anniversary. On Friday and Saturday, the Mocan Dragway is hosting a big event to honor 6 decades of operation. Professional racers from across the Midwest are in Asbury, Missouri this weekend to compete for over $35,000 in prize money. There's also fireworks, food trucks, and a legendary special guest, Big Daddy Don Gartless, who fans call the father of drag racing.
I think when it opened in '62, nobody thought it would last more than 3 or 4 years, and the interest has been there and it has just sustained. They always had good shows on the holiday weekends and brought in big name racers and exhibition cars, and we've kind of continued that tradition.
People have been so nice out here. They're coming up, talking with us, hanging around, and the grandstands are packed, so I'm impressed by all of this.
That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Well, the Mega Millions jackpot keeps growing.
There was no winner in Friday night's Mega Millions drawing worth $480 million. That's according to a news release from the lottery. The next drawing is set for Tuesday and it's expected to be worth about $530 million. That places it 8th in the top Mega Million jackpots. The biggest winner was in October of 2018 when one ticket sold in South Carolina won over $1.5 billion.
Can you imagine being the single winner of $1.5 billion? I mean, I know taxes get taken out, but seriously, what do you do with that?
I don't know what I would be able to do, honestly. I think my head would get so big.
I know.
Realistically.
I couldn't even begin to imagine how to spend that kind of money.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's a pretty good day.
That's a great day.
I mean, I've got a list of things I need, but nothing that would fill $1 billion. Nick's got $1 billion worth of temperatures in the forecast this week.
Yeah, and those are numbers I wish I could drop, but I'm not seeing any indications they will. Certainly by Tuesday, highs pushing near 105, but we'll have thankfully more rain chances tomorrow and highs are 96.
Oof, I don't know if I'm looking forward to that 105 on Tuesday.
Yeah,
me either.
Yeah. How are we looking for sports, Danny?
Well, big matchup tonight. The Joplin Outlaws and the Sedalia Bombers fight for first place in the South Division. We'll have those highlights at 10.
See you then.
Salon service is provided.